What's good, everybody? Welcome to Whole View. Thank you for clicking that thumbnail. My name is Corey, and today we're going to be talking about Ahsoka, the 2 episodes that dropped on Disney+. So I'm going to make a bold statement here and talk about the show in a way that probably most Star Wars fans will not, because they are much bigger Star Wars fans than myself. Ahsoka is probably the most inaccessible show that the Star Wars universe has put on Disney+. So I do consider myself a fairly big Star Wars fan. You know, I watched all the live action films, right? I've watched all the live action shows. If you go in my history and you look at any of my movie reviews, I was quite generous because most of those came out at a time where I was just starting and I wasn't really bold enough to speak negatively, as well as I was just being a little too generous to those films that came out. But I've been all the way honest and pretty truthful about my experience with the shows. So I've seen every episode of Mandalorian and I love it all. I like season 1 through 3. Mandalorian, good to go. I watched every episode of Boba Fett. Not so high on Boba Fett. I watched Obi-Wan, and while that did have its moments, I still kind of feel like it wasn't as good as a lot of the other stuff that I like inside the Star Wars universe. I did watch every episode of Andor, and while Andor was not nearly as fun as the Mandalorian episodes, it is high quality content from the Star Wars universe, and I really did enjoy it. The serious tone of Andor was very refreshing compared to some of the other stuff that we've gotten from the Disney Star Wars universe. But with all that being said, I've never watched one episode of anything animated from Star Wars. So I know Ahsoka has her roots and her connection to Anakin, and Obi-Wan is done in the Clone Wars animated show. Never saw one episode. I know that there's references to characters and they are talking about people and I don't know who they are. Talk about Ezra a lot and I don't know who Ezra is. And I imagine that he was referenced in maybe the Clone Wars. I know there's another animated show, Star Wars Rebels, where Ahsoka has some very key moments, and it's like I've never seen any of that stuff either. The only context that I had for the Ahsoka character is that I knew she was connected to Anakin and Obi-Wan. I knew she was a Jedi in training but stopped for some reason. I knew her adversary in those shows, Clone Wars and Rebels, was Grand Admiral Thrawn. I don't know anything about Thrawn besides he's super powerful when it comes to like the dark side of the Force, and he's blue, and he's supposedly a real bad man. So I knew that and I thought that was enough, and I don't feel like that was enough to come into this show relatively cold and get it and enjoy it all. For instance, these first 2 episodes set up the character of Sabine Wren as like the Padawan to Ahsoka, and it's like I didn't even know she had one of those. I didn't know she was far along enough to have one of those, and I didn't know that she had any other significant relationships outside of the ones that she had with Anakin and Obi-Wan. So it's gonna be a learning experience for me watching the show and following along, because I am actually kind of impressed with the show. I feel like it's on par with the Mandalorian stuff. The fun of it has not really kicked in yet. It does feel like it's going to be a slightly more serious show because our main character comes across as a lot more driven and more focused on finding Admiral Thrawn and making sure he's finished, because, you know, supposedly he was taken out in Rebels, but it appears like he's alive and well, or at least he has some type of return in place. But I thought these episodes was good. I can't really like give any other great in-depth analysis or commentary on the shows besides I thought they were good. You know, Star Wars fans are an incredibly sensitive group of people, in my opinion. Like, they always want every project to be exactly what they want it to be, and if it's not, it's the end of the world and the sky is falling. So I did hear a lot of negative commentary about the first episode and how it was so slow and it was so long and boring and this and that. But then at the same time, when I watched the episode myself, I'm like, I don't know what y'all talking about. I think I can give them a little leeway when I will admit some of those scenes in episode 1 were kind of slow, like with Ahsoka going around the temple, like it seemed kind of slow. After she actually found the little star map and she gave it to her young Padawan, soon to be apprentice, Ren. And Ren is just like getting set up in her apartment. It's like a scene where she just walks around, she sets it down, she looks at it, and then they cut to something else. It's like, yo, some of that stuff can go. But I'm not making it a huge deal. You know, they're developing things. They're moving along slowly. They got this time to fill these episodes. So go ahead and fill it with a little bit of, introspective moment for the characters. I'm fine with that. Now, the second episode, things really pop off and things move at a speed that I'm really comfortable with them moving. I'm hoping that we get episodes that are about that length in length. You know what I'm saying? Mandalorian did the thing many times in seasons that you would get little 20-minute episodes, 23 minutes, 25 minutes. Like, man, I'm really hoping we get some 30, 40-minute, 45-minute episodes from Ahsoka that are filled with things actually happening. Because again, this character does feel driven, and this does not feel like something that can go on and on and on. It feels like they're going to reach a conclusion, and you're not going to have the spaced out writing and episodes of pure filler like you do get sometimes with Mandalorian and some of the other properties. So the only negative that I can actually say about the episode is that I feel like the character of Sabine Wren has a whole bunch of plot armor around her, because normally a lightsaber like through the midsection is the end of it. Like, you're done for that character. And the fact that she went to the hospital for what appears to be like 2 days and then came out with her wound being healed, and then by the end of the episode she's in her armor and she's ready to start training again, is a situation that really kind of throws me all the way off. I didn't think that character, one, would survive after watching episode 1, and then 2, I didn't think that she would be well enough by the conclusion of episode 2 to actually get out there and start doing stuff. So, plot armor exists and that character is wrapped up in it. She's, at that point she's going to be quite significant to the show moving forward. And I think that's just more me not knowing all these characters and their importance. So maybe I might have to go and do the animated route and look at all the stuff that Disney's trying to push. If you look in the little opening, the little top part, it tells you, hey, watch this episode of Clone Wars, watch this episode of Rebels to get more context. I didn't think I had to do that, but after watching this episode, let me know in the comment section if you think it would benefit me to just go and do that, because I'm thinking if I do another episode and I feel like as lost as I kind of felt this one, I think it'll be necessary. So just let me know what your recommendation would be. Go watch all the old stuff, or watch the stuff that they highlight, or just keep continuing to push through, because I feel like I probably would be okay if I just push through, but then it might be easier to just go ahead and watch. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know your level of knowledge about Ahsoka and her gallery of characters and stuff like that. Let me know all the thoughts that you may have about the show in that comment section below. I'd appreciate it. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go watch something good.